So a few days ago, Summer Games Fest happened and we got to see a lot of news for Sonic X Shadow Generations. Not only a trailer, but we got to see gameplay of the first stage and the first boss fight with the Biolizard. And I want to go over everything that we have, and I want to dissect everything and see what we can pick apart, because oh my god, this game just keeps exceeding my expectations. I thought it would be a nice little romp through different levels, but it's so much more than that, and we'll get into it in this video. And I don't want to waste any more time. Let's just get right into the trailer analysis, which I want to take a quick look at real quick. So the trailer starts off with some base gens gameplay, and it looks basically the same until we get to about 19 seconds and we actually get to see some shadow gameplay. And right off the bat, we see a new stage with Rail Canyon, and oh my god, first of all, can I say the graphics look amazing. The Hedgehog Engine 2 looks like it's being pushed to its absolute limit here, and I'm so happy with what the game looks like. We see him rail grinding through Rail Canyon again, and now we know that this is his chaos control ability where he can stop time. And later on, we'll see how that affects level design, which is amazing. I think this is the first time since Shadow 2005 where Chaos Control has been a ability that he can use in-game. We keep going, and we see more Shadow gameplay like him inside of the Ark and more Rail Canyon footage. They really love showing Rail Canyon footage. And then, this is where I lost my absolute mind. We see some Kingdom Valley gameplay. It's one of my favorite levels in the Sonic series, period. And seeing it in this game is just making me so happy, man. We look at the trailer a bit more, and then eventually we get this new form that Shadow gets, where he grows wings, and this is just the most badass thing I've ever seen from this character in such a long time, man. It's unreal. And then we get to the end of the trailer where we get to see a crap ton of things. First of all, we get the Gerald Robotnik journal, which will drop some new lore for us about Shadow, and if they confirm the mural theory, I will be so happy, man. We also get a Sonic Adventure Dreamcast Legacy skin. Now, I was afraid if they ever did end up doing this for a game, they would use the DX model, but they're using the Adventure model. And then, if you get the Digital Deluxe Edition, you get a fucking Terrio skin, which is the early design for Shadow. And this is such a deep cut, I'm surprised that they ever even thought of this. So mad props to Sega for this type of content. Now, that's all we got when it came to footage for day 1 of Summer Games Fest. But on day 2, we actually got to see some actual footage of the game, which includes some Sonic Generations base gameplay, which looks like Sonic Generations, but we got to see some first gameplay of Shadow Generations. And the first level that we see, and the only level that we see, is of him going on the Ark. And I want to take a bit to dissect all the levels, because there's been a big discourse going around on Twitter saying, oh, it looks like Forces. I'm here to tell you, this is nowhere near as bad as Forces at the slightest. So first off, the level starts off with Shadow rail grinding down this loop part, and it starts off in this hallway area. We have this area from the very first trailer of the game where he has to homing attack a bunch of enemies, and we have that path that goes under, which shoots him up to the top path instead of having to homing attack all these enemies. Already showing off, even if it's just a little bit, we have a bit of an alternate path that gets you go faster. And then here we're introduced to this wall running panel where Shadow can just run up the wall, and we can see again here when he goes up the spring, you can either go to homing attack the meteors, or you could continue and go onto the running section, which I'm very interested to see where that goes, which it just looks like it heads here, but having that option again is really cool. Shadow keeps going down, and right here it cuts off, but right there we get to see what appears to be another collectible with another alternate path. If you're able to, jump up, you get a collectible. I don't know if that's a moon or something, but that is very interesting. But the trailer then goes to this tube, which in this footage goes under and inside of the tube. But when looking over to the Gamescage or Fidel's footage on Twitter, we can see that he goes onto the top, and there's a bunch of grinding rails where you can go and get another collectible, which is really cool. So there's a bit of an incentive to try to get to the top. Once this person gets out of the tube, we see this other hallway with a bunch of enemies, and here it is very interesting because here he just avoids the missiles, but in Fidel's footage, you can actually see him use Chaos Control to stop the footage, and it seems that you can use the missiles to hop onto a ring, which is the first instance of using the Chaos Control as a way to alter the level design. And in the footage provided by the VGC, we can see them use Chaos Control in the first time when trying to bridge a gap, and this is just really cool. I can't wait to see how they expand this in the open zone and in all the action stages as well. Now, when we keep looking back at Fidel's footage, we can see that he keeps going, and once he gets down to the end of this path here, we see that he goes onto these anti-gravity things, which kind of resemble a crazy gadget, and eventually we get to this point that you've probably seen 1,000 times on Twitter with this missile, and Shadow just runs up to it, uses chaos control, beats the ever-loving shit out of it, and just absolutely fucking kicks. Oh my god, man. This type of spectacle in Sonic's where it's like mid-level is just insane, right? Now, at this point, Shadow falls down, right, after like bouncing a bun on these springs, and usually in a modern day Sonic game, this is where the level would end, right? But no, the level keeps fucking going, and on average, this level in full takes around 6 minutes to beat. A 6-minute boost level in a Sonic game has not been done since maybe Unleashed, so this is absolutely insane to me. After falling down the pit, we see this part of the level, which is really cool because it like shows off a bunch of different ramps. First of all, the ramps have no boost pads, right? So in order to launch yourself up, you're gonna have to use your own momentum. Oh my, it's just all of this is showing they're finally like learning to make engaging level designs where it's more about player agency besides automation. And just for that fact alone, this game 100% just blows forces out of the water. People saying this is like forces, it confuses me. I don't know why, man. Once you get to the end of this path, we can see that we have these lasers that are blocking Chao's path, and right before they make the turn, you can see that there's another alternate path up there that he misses because he doesn't homing attack that thing and hits that ring. So again, there's another alternate path that looks like it's going a completely separate way, and this is where the VGC footage ends. But right before it does, you can see what looks like a completely open area, and when we switch back to Fidel's footage, you can just see how open it really is. It looks like a whole playground. It kind of reminds me of Sonic Adventure 2. You have like 3 different paths. You have a top path that goes into this grind rail, you have this ramp that can launch you up there, and possibly that third path that you missed before probably leads to even higher path. This room has so many ways you can traverse in a boost level, in modern day boost level. This is so refreshing to see, man. And we can see that Fidel takes the most basic way possible to traverse this level, but it still reaches to this different path, and it looks like this tube goes a different way, because once you get out of the tube, again, you see more grind rails going from the top and the other ways and different routes again. Then after this section, we have this trippy scene that we saw from the first trailer, and this is a transition, by the way. This is not a separate level. This is still the same level. This is insane to me, bro. The polish in this game is just insane, and I'm all for it, bro. I'm loving it, bro. Now this section is a bit long, but it seems more just to introduce Black Doom. So it's just a long section where you just follow him and he talks back and forth. Once we get past this part, we see more actual level design, and again, those alternate paths show again. This is what I love, because what Fidel does, he goes down this way, but when we look at the VGC footage, instead of going the way Fidel went, he went onto the upper path. And since Fidel went down the lower path, he wasn't able to reach this grind rail that you can only access if you go on the upper path. Again, showing that they're learning to, you know, give more incentive to go other ways besides just, oh, it's a faster way. Again, we have this transition where Shadow starts to slide down a fucking building, and then the level ends with a little boss arena, and holy crap, again, this level is 6 minutes long, which is longer than any boost level in I don't know how many years. And after looking at this level, I want to say that basically all of my fears have basically been, you know, dealt with. This level alone just shows me how much detail and dedication they're putting into the level design, and if this is what it's gonna be for the whole game, I have no problem with that. And speaking of the whole game, we're also getting an open zone, which I called at the beginning. Oh my god, I just love feeling validated, you know that? Now really quick, before we go into everything else, I want to talk about the open zone and a few other things that we know. In this game, we have a hub world, and that hub world is based off of the open zones from Sonic Frontiers. So in between levels, you'll be able to go into the open zone and I guess unlock it to access more levels. First of all, the level actually fits the theme, so it doesn't look like it's just a bunch of, you know, asset spam. It actually looks cohesive and like a world that can exist in this reality, right? They're learning from Frontiers, and they're learning how to make levels feel cohesive. Now, I just really want to see how it plays, because if it's going to be better than Frontiers, or it's going to be on the same level, I wouldn't really mind, as long as it's just not worse than Frontiers. Another thing that we can see is that, if you notice, this game had a lot of Chao in the marketing, like in the cover art and in the cutscenes they added Chao. That's because there's going to be new missions called Chao Rescue missions, kind of like in Sonic Adventure 2, where you have to find a bunch of different Chaos in the level and, you know, to collect them. And Sonic even have a little Chao pet on the side. So it looks like they're going to be introducing Chao even more. It looks like they want to put them back into like the public eye, which is very interesting. Maybe we're going to get a Chao Garden later down in another Sonic game, or maybe in this game that they just haven't announced yet. Finally, I want to quickly talk about the Biolizard fight. Now, it may not be as grand or has the same amount of spectacle as the Titan fights, but it looks way more engaging. It actually looks like it needs to take some skill. And honestly, I'm all down for it. If they do end up doing a big Titan fight at the end of Shadow's campaign with Super Shadow, that would be amazing. I love that. But this looks pretty good. As long as the boss fights are fun, I'm all down for it. And we also get to see some new Shadow combat with, again, Chaos Control and a Chaos Sphere. So that means Shadow may have his own skill tree in the open zone and some boss fights. And I want to see how they do this for any other boss fight or just the open zone. Maybe it's going to be expanded from Frontiers. I don't know. Hopefully it's fun. Hopefully it's not spammy and just like style over substance like in Frontiers, but we'll just have to wait and see. And one more thing that I just found out as of making this video, not only does classic Sonic get a drop dash, but so does modern Sonic. And oh my god, it actually looks kinda useful. I have to, you know, wait and see in the full game how it can be utilized, but if it uses any type of momentum, this could be pretty fun to use. I don't know, I just thought I wanted to throw this at the end of the video. And I think that basically covers up everything that we know about Sonic X Shadow Generations. I will say this again, this game just keeps like exceeding my expectations. I thought that it was just gonna be a level to level game with a little hub world like Generations, but then we found out that there's gonna be an open zone like in Frontiers. There's gonna be these new Chao missions. There's gonna be these levels with these with much more detail and these like depth and just the length. The stages look meaty. They are meaty and they have depth to them, which that's like my biggest concern for the levels. And that fear has basically been, you know, just dealt with. So I am very, very excited for this game. And it also seems like this game may get DLC in the future, because we are getting a bonus level with the deluxe edition. So I can't wait to see what they add to the future. If there's gonna be like a season pass or like a DLC roadmap like they do with Frontiers, I'm not sure, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And that is basically all I wanted to cover today. I'm sorry for getting this out a bit late, but I guess it works out in the end, because I get to cover everything in one big video, and you guys get, you know, we get to experience everything together as it's going. I want to post a lot about this game in the future, because we're starting to get more content. We're probably the floodgates for the marketing probably are open now, so we might be getting a lot more soon. We might get some more in-depth stuff, and that prologue is coming very soon, so I can't wait to see what they do. We're supposed to get a preview pretty soon, so I can't wait for that. And there also might be a Sonic Central soon, because they do one every year. We might see some more gameplay there, so I guess we'll find out. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see y'all in the next one.